The very first night that I was in jail, I literally my pants.
Hello and welcome to Lord Lukan. Today we've got an edition of the best and worst from season 6 of Life After Lockup. So sit your little self back with a spreadsheet and a fresh comedy routine as we get a recap of Christine and Julian. We've got crazy cat people.
I got Chucky Bonkers in the car here with me.
Julian got arrested the other day.
Dun dun dun.
Christine is ready to order.
Bring it that raw dog.
And we get a taste of romance with Julian and Christine.
Stinky old lady farts.
Christine is having some vegetable-based withdrawals.
Oh my God, I'd love some avocado right now.
The amazing Julian is taking his clothes off again.
Thank you for meeting us at this time.
Amazing Julian's cat falls down the stairs.
It would mean a lot to me if you can make it.
Then the comedic Christine wows the audience. Oh yes, all this and much more to come, right here on the Lord Lukan channel. But before we drag our little feet back over to Crazy Town, there's some big love to those who have subscribed to Beautiful People and sweet totally mental pie to the members of the Lukan Manor. Brace yourself, because we're off to meet Julian and Christine. Julian is the cat-sitting bachelor from Maryland who shaves his sideburns too high. Regular viewers might know that this is actually a crime in the Lord Lukan court of face furniture. The higher the burns, the creepier the guy. See? Even his dog is demonic. Most people who meet their potential mates on this show through their prison pen pal system have their own excuse of what brought them there. Some are totally transparent and just say they were looking for love in a prisoner. Some say their mates told them to do it, or signed them up unknowingly. Julian, however, has his very own well-constructed backstory.
There's a new novel that I'm working on where my main character is on death row.
Now, I do love the here's me writing a novel picture. Novelly. So anyway, he's a writer, and he's come up with an amazing new concept for his book. And to make sure it's authentic, he went looking for
First-hand, subject matter expertise on prison and prison culture.
So of course he messages the fairly attractive one with the blonde hair and red lipstick. All in the name of research, of course. Yay, research. So what was his pickup game like? I've been researching prisons, lingos, prison cultures, but I haven't found much to make it seem authentic. Because all the TV shows, books, films, YouTube channels, etc. They're no good. He needed Christine, who may look at home in a library in this picture, but there's also something a bit, I'll chop it off and throw it out the window of a moving car about her. Then he finishes, I see you like writing. So cool. Okay, firstly, every prisoner likes writing. It's like saying all people who do this to their hair are weird. It's just stating the obvious. So cool. Are you 12? If he was anywhere near interested in research, he would have at least asked a question. In fact, while we're here, to the men watching, apparently around 16% of you are card-carrying cock owners, don't do this. This is not good. Why? Don't be over 40 and use slang from the 80s. Don't say something which is painfully transparent. Don't stick exclamation marks everywhere. And for God's sake, give her something to respond to. Ask her something. Chances are you're one of 5 men talking to her at any one time, which is the general ratio, of course. So say something worth replying to. Be witty, be thoughtful, be charming, just, be something. Anyway, then Christine inadvertently tells us that this is what she usually does.
All you have to do is go, I was making out with my roommate.
No. Those sideburns were more interested in getting deep into her vernacular. He's not interested in all that nonsense. He just wants a taste of her patois. He wants to pit her in her patter.
You are horse of a different color, sir.
Well, he's the stallion of sentences, a romancer for your stanza. And, we mustn't judge. Maybe he's more of a horse than, Troy, for example. Maybe it's not just his vocabulary that's impressive. Yeah, but I'm sure it'll all be fine. I'm sure he's quite stable. Financially, that is, and all she did was a little bit of unarmed bank robbery.
6 bank robberies across 3 states, and police say they finally have their suspect in custody.
Okay, then all she did was, just a little 6 unarmed robberies.
Julian and I are an odd couple.
Yes, indeed. And whilst we're all thinking that's probably a little blatantly obvious, she lists their theology as a key point.
I think it's going to be a little bit of a rough ride.
She's an atheist, he's a Pentecostalistical. That's the one where the pastor goes round slapping the shit out of the congregation. And the speaking in tongues thing. What's that? You think that might be right for one of my montages? Huh? I should do a dancing cutaway? Well, my little gorgeousness, go on then.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars. Crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah, I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy.
Anyway, Christine is full of confidence. That's what we're watching for. Now, these two have met before. That last time they got pulled over, and she ended up getting arrested for some outstanding warrants. And she is one of the privileged 3.
My body count is 3.
Fling ourselves back to Julian, who's gone to pick up Christine. And is it me or is there something a little,
You and the kitty? If only Roscoe were here.
Howling. Yeah.
Right, now you beautiful people are really good at telling me this stuff, so, I don't know, has she had a stroke? Or is she gurning her tits off? I'm either about to be moderately offensive towards someone with issues, or I've never seen someone quite this high on Lalu before.
Men come out looking buff, and women come out looking like buffalo.
That's either a bad head injury or good drugs.
I'm going to get on it and just do it with like, you know.
But is the next line, which clears it all up.
I was dating someone who got me on the needle.
Ah, the affectation is due to a thing beginning with M and ending in ethadone. That totally makes sense. It's quite crazy though. If you move the world with her as she sways about and kind of simulate what her balance is like, it looks like this.
Took a envelope and I wrote, put all your 50s and 100s in this envelope.
Oh, blimey, I think I'm going to be sick. So these two are off to write a book together. Can't imagine what kind of craziness that would be. But I hear Netflix is interested in making it into a 3-part miniseries starring Gary Busey. Hey, a Gary Busey joke. Good times. More of them, the crazy cat couple, not Gary Busey, in the next video.
At the hotel, everybody needs to get the hell out because we've got business to take care of.
Now, my beautiful viewer, it's time for another Lalu star. I use that term very loosely to demonstrate how inept they are at criminal stuff, as we head over to see Julian and Christine. And there's trouble in Julian's gang.
Dun dun dun.
Oh my God.
Yes, indeed. Of all the people we've met this season, Julian is the one to put on the old iron bracelets. See? Told you about those high sideburns. I think Julian now holds the record for the most tragic criminal attempt. But does it beat True? True, of course, failed to rob a KFC, ran past his getaway car and got tased 2 blocks later, which is pretty stupid. But what about Julian? Does he have the credible rights to the crown of crappy criminality? Well, here's the story. On their way to see Christine's kids, she and Julian decided to stop at Walmart to get some gifts. They both bagged a bunch of stuff and left the store pretending to have a receipt. Julian was then approached by the police and decided to put those hours of playing GTA to the test and ran for it. That's right, Julian, who admitted to being picked last for sports, thought his best chance was to run for it. Now, the world outside the US has a kind of stereotype when it comes to US police people. We kind of imagine them to be, a bit robust, shall we say. So the idea of one of them being outrun by an athlete such as Julian isn't too much of a stretch of the imagination. But run he did. And oh no, the thing that every criminal hates when being pursued by the police. Not a fence, not a dog, not one of those spiky strips. Granted, Julian isn't a car. No, it was none of those. It was a patch of grass. I know. Can you believe it? He would have gotten away if it wasn't for that pesky, nice flat piece of grass. Maybe it was a wonky piece of grass. Well, there's only one way to find out. Here is the Walmart in Vienna, West Virginia. So my guess is that it was this patch of grass here. seeing as it's closer to the exit, which means he managed to run a whole 87 feet or 0.01 miles. If he was running at an average speed of about 14 miles an hour, he would have made that distance and therefore been on the run for a whole 3 seconds. Good job. After arresting him, they then picked up Christine at the local PetSmart, a whopping 800 feet away, where she said she'd ditched all her goodies. She had a card game and socks valuing $63, and he had unknown stuff worth $546. According to Sarcasm, Christine was let off because it was her first shoplifting offence. Apparently robbing a bunch of banks doesn't make any difference to that. Julian got charged with shoplifting and attempting to flee, got a $422 fine, and had to pay Walmart more than $1,000. So, my little sugar plum, who did it worse? True and running past the getaway car, or Julian and falling over grass? Let me know in the comments below. Oh, and were you also wondering about his t-shirt? Staves Acre. Looks a bit sort of rocky, bit alternative. Kind of. It's a Christian rock band who sound like a mix of Henry Rollins and most late 90s bands like Deftones. Take in this delightful track from their repertoire, Threshold. Barely listenable.
It's a mix of like bull and heartbreak and tragedy, kind of all mixed together.
Anyway, back to Christine, and I've enabled Wobble Vision to keep her head still.
He's amazing at, going downtown, baby. He's so good at that. Like, oh my God.
Okay, double vomit there. One from the room spinning and one for the words. But unfortunately, the only downtown he was visiting was the Vienna Police Department. And there's only one thing more horrifying than the idea of these two rearranging their headboard.
I have no plans to use protection. I know she doesn't either.
Yes, you hear it right. The 46-year-old man and the 36-year-old recovering drug addict think it would be a genius idea to begin repopulating West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Don't worry about those, 3 kids she's already got and claims she wants to see. They're like old news. She wants a brand new one with the new baby smell.
Condoms, we don't use that. Come on, that's some kid right there. I want it raw, baby.
Quite literally kid shit. Kid making shit. And I'm not sure if that was a wink or a nervous twitch. But Julian better be ready to put all the cash in the bag and not do anything funny, because this is a woman with needs.
I get that raw dog.
Be very afraid.
Off now to catch up with the Captain Wow of crime himself. It's Julian and Christine, and they've been consummating their freedom.
We had a lot of fun.
Not so much for the people neighbouring the room, I'm imagining, who are being treated for trauma.
The wall was banging back there.
Yeah, that was probably just the woman next door having her curtains fixed. But proper. I don't want to know. He kind of looks like a vegan John Taffer. Meets Dollar Tree Steve Gutenberg. Blimey, Steve Gutenberg. But he's not been up to much. Hang on a second. Steve Gutenberg, the man whose godfather played a talking onion in DuckTales, is none other than the world record holder for the most hot dogs prepared in 1 minute. There you go. Anyway, back to Christine.
Making love. It was like the first time.
Bloody hell, that cameraman's got a job to keep up with her. Keep her in frame, Gary. You can do it. But don't worry, cameraman Gary. I'm here to engage Wobble Vision to keep her straight.
Making love. It was like the first time you see the sunrise,
Over now to Julian, those unnaturally high sideburns, and Christine. Now, there's not much to say about them, really. They just set off my tangents with this comment.
And obviously I'm going to mess with pepperoni rolls because they don't have them in Maryland.
Hang on a second. First of all, I had no idea that the state dish of West Virginia is pepperoni rolls. Apparently because they used to give them to the miners. The ones in the holes, not on the islands.
Wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere.
Secondly, don't you worry your wobbly little head about that. I can't believe that the entire state of Maryland, which owns some of the biggest food challenges, include a 76-ounce steak, doesn't make pepperoni rolls. So let's hit the road and head to Maryland to find somewhere. How about this? Frank's in Van Dyke Manor, or the deli in Blue Ball Village. But they don't sell them in Crapo, because that's just empty-o. Flinging ourselves back to Julian and Christine. And Christine, who is wearing one of those neck things all the girls wore in the 90s, has arrived in Julian's passion pad.
Ta-da!
Oh my gosh.
Ta-da! And an oh my god. There must be something special to behold in there. Now, before we do the big reveal, imagine in that beautiful head of yours an interior by this guy. Ready? Okay, here we go.
I love it.
Yep, that's pretty much what you'd expect. It's like someone vomited up a kid's bedroom from the 80s and attempted to scatter some cushions around. No to the tacky 80s style generic sunset and boat picture. And guys just don't get cushions. To the men watching, this is not doing cushions. I'm sure he must have Googled, how do I make my crappy sofa look less crappy? And Google said, chuck some throws and cushions about the place. And this is what he created. Creative. This is how you do cushions. And there isn't such a thing as too many. And you do need to dig your way through several dozen pillows when you get into bed. What a quick glimpse at how anal I am. Anal. This annoys me. Just make the damn thing sit properly in the corner, for God's sake. Also, this space must feel really hectic and he probably doesn't know why. Well, as soon as you walk in, you're greeted with the back of the TV, a wonky unit and a bunch of what looks like, I don't know, plastic frogs. Get a bloody corner unit, something in oak or pine to give that natural warmth, and go with the laminated flooring he's got. And sort this wall out. It's a massive service that confronts you when you walk in. Cover it in natural stone or reclaimed wood. Add some brass fittings, make it a feature. Not the stupid yacht thing, because with that people might ask, so, do you like boats? And he'll say, nope, I like writing novels. So why the hell do you have a yacht? And if you say you were manifesting it, I might just have to vomit on the corduroy. Get some large prints of your favourite book covers. And maybe some smaller images of manuscripts in black frames. The natural wood palette would tie in the nasty beige sofa, making it less offensive by proxy. So for $200, you could wallpaper that with the faux stone. Get some cool lighting. Buy an unnecessarily large amount of cushions. Sort it. And get rid of that plastic-coated plywood thing. One of the first things we see. And what do we get? Oh, God knows. It just looks like a bunch of crap. Although the nerd in me knows that this is Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. So we can either get rid of all this rubbish, or we can get some of that vinyl of the various wooden stone effects. Cover all that up. And why not add some damn books, Mr. Writer-Man? Your living room should be about your passions and pleasures. And we're getting all the excitement of potatoes and gravy. Anyway, enough of that. Julian now has to tackle the subject of his kids. And there's a pretty scary proviso.
Chris hasn't met my kids yet. That can't happen until she's met my ex-wife.
Why does that sound like we're about to meet Anne Robinson? Actually, I can see him with Anne Robinson. Or, Nancy Pelosi. Actually, I'm quite surprised he's got kids at all. So, if she's not met the kids yet, or the foreboding wife, they've had to come up with a plan to avoid them meeting.
The plan is to have you upstairs when they're here.
Okay, so the amazing plan is to go all Anne Frank on them and hide on the top floor. Okay, well, I suppose it wouldn't be too bad, I guess. I mean, how often do they come round?
Mondays, Tuesdays, and then every other weekend.
So on 1 week, she'd be allowed out for 3 days, and the next she'd be allowed out for 5 days. So for 6.4 months of the year, she'll have to stay in her room. That's not at all like being imprisoned. And that's not all that Julian has to tell her.
I've got this secret that I'm not sharing with anyone.
Yeah, but I bet it's not going to be that exciting. It'll be, I'm not actually a Pentecostal. I'm a Jehovah's Witness. Or maybe like to be called Susan and wear stilettos on a Thursday night. But I think Christine is becoming aware that something is afoot. And having recently grasped the difference between arse and elbow, she's on a roll.
Trying to hide me or something from everyone?
Nah, he hides everyone he loves in the attic. And if they don't put the lotion on, they get the hose again. And next, prepare yourself. We're about to enter the inner sanctum. We've been granted access to where the moonlight and music meet the love and romance.
This is the master bedroom.
Now, I'm not going to go full interior on his posterior this time, but am I the only one who's slightly curious as to what the lair of the Julian might look like? Probably.
Here.
Okay, well, yep, barely. That shadeless bulb at the middle of the room gives that kind of interrogation feel, and the bed looks as uncomfortable as a concrete slab with rigor mortis. But look at those corners. Get your protractors out for those bad boys. All the crap all over the place is Christine's stuff, so we can't give him grief for that. So anyway, he wants her to get a job. She's horny, and no one cares. Speaking of no one caring, brace yourself some amazing, because we've got an appointment with Julian and Christine. The aim is all about spending money on lawyers for custody cases, blah blah, who cares? Although I think a fly must have got into the set. And the only other vaguely interesting thing was Julian's fleece, a freeboy from Health, which is some marketing and health company who say stuff like driving consumer and stakeholder awareness, and they use the word brandtivity. When brandtivity and healthcare meet, anything's possible. I mean, what the hell does that even mean? Stupid marketing. Anyway, Christine ends up having a tantrum because she doesn't want to get a job and contribute to the house.
It's very unrealistic to expect the same thing from someone who's just getting out of prison.
I hate that excuse. It's like saying, I don't want to spend large amounts of time doing something boring and listening to someone tell me what to do, because that's totally not like prison. Well, hey, guess what? Life can be a damn prison unless you move the walls yourself. Being institutionalised is arguably beneficial for a life in normal, characterless employment. People in offices are institutionalised and have been that way since they're in school. They must wear what's prescribed, use the language of their culture, conform to its regulations. Just like people on building sites, coffee shops, retails, they're all institutionalised. Her problem is she's just lazy and thought she's bagged herself a sugar daddy. Jewish. And will now use her past against Julian's future to get what she wants. The vast majority of prisoners aren't victims, you know, but sketchy leeches like Christine will accept your pity for any price you're willing to pay. So, she can go and gurn herself off the end of that pier as far as I'm concerned. You're just in time for our arrival in Maryland.
You can be dating Mother Teresa and Princess Diana, you know. Wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, if we're talking about Diana, not as in princess, but as in, Ross, then I'd say there may be some similarities after all. Pause your mind for a moment. A quick thought experiment for those who are still paying attention. This is a woman called Dee. She's from a locally known tough family. This is Chuck. He's the second in command of a big bad crime syndicate. Now, Chuck secretly loves a woman called Millie. But Millie looks like the back end of a bus, and that's not good for big bad crime syndicate guy business. Dee would love to marry into a proper crime syndicate, knows about Chuck's love for Millie, but decides to get with him anyway. Over time, Chuck gets more involved with his job, and Dee feels rejected. Chuck ends up adjusting Millie's curtains one disturbing night, and in return, Dee sleeps with a quarterback from the Dallas Cowboys and has a secret baby with Ed Sheeran that she passes off as Chuck's. Are there any victims in this story? Would you say Dee was right to do what she did in revenge? Now change the characters but keep the story. Dee, of course, is Princess Diana. Chuck is King Charles. Millie is Camilla. Ooh, don't fancy yours much. And the other two? Well, who knows, apparently. Does your opinion change when you know who the people are? Anyway, enough of that. Where were we? Oh yes, Julian is busy not believing a word Christine is saying.
You can be dating Mother Teresa and Princess Diana, you know. Wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't think you necessarily need to be Mother Teresa. I think old Mother Hubbard would do, if she didn't constantly gurn and have a colourful past that Julian might refer to as commercial finance acquisition. But of course, that Mother Teresa was a saint. Hang on a second. Mother Teresa, charity person, the cost cutter of Calcutta, and tea towel spokesperson. Made millions of dollars, pounds, pesos for her charity. That was jolly nice of her. And with it, she did, yeah, well, she had some hospitals, didn't she? All those people died due to lack of funding, and everybody who visited them thought they were well below standard, even though people were donating millions of dollars to her. But who am I to doubt her? I mean, she even said herself that she saved 10,000 lives. That's way more than Jesus. The fact that's totally unsubstantiated, never mind all that. She did great things for the spread of Christianity, and also for the spread of poverty. But, you can make a lot of money out of poverty. All you need to do is hijack a message that's popular, repackage it and sell it to the people, and in exchange for their money, you can give them faith. Faith that something good is coming, and all you need to do is chuck your money at it, all the time making sure that the focus of your charity efforts don't actually benefit in any way, therefore providing you with financial stability. And there you go, Mother Teresa. Sorry, wrong picture. There you go, Mother Teresa. Anyway, we've established that Christine thinks that the only problem with Julian's ex-wife is that she's not keen on her kids hanging around with somebody who robbed 6 banks and looks like she's been hit by a truck. A truck that then, just reversed to make sure. And it had a load of crack on it. But then Christine goes into victim mode, as she does when asked not to be so bloody lazy. And of course goes and talks about her kids again.
I have 3 children. My oldest son lives with my mother.
Yeah, we hear all the moaning, but we see the zero efforting. She wants Julian to pay the thousands to some magical unicorn lawyers to fix her problem overnight. And because she thinks she's doing all the emotional heavy lifting, everyone else should just shut up about the abyss of money and expectations that she has. She's moved into someone's family house and is demanding that she she be the queen of it immediately? Then what would she do if some judge had some kind of aneurysm and actually did give her custody of the kids? Would she move them into the attic too? Does she think she'd just blend them all together? Is she planning on being like a cuckoo? Cuckoos, of course, move their eggs into other birds' nests and knock out the chicks that were already there.
You're totally ungrateful about the whole thing.
I don't think I'm being ungrateful.
You're complaining about you have access to
I shouldn't be grateful to have access to my own house and my own life.
Cuckooey. Anyway, a quick moan about why the producers needed to remind us about our kids every bloody episode. Yeah, we know. She sucked at parenting, but WeTV still need to fill a bit of airtime. Man, just to fill a bit more airtime, they run that clip about Julian having a secret for 100th time.
There's something I've been keeping from her.
Yeah, rapidly losing interest. Here's my prediction for next week. These two argue about money. She reminds us that she has 3 kids. He reminds us he's got a secret. And we all wonder who the most pointless time filler couple was. Was it these two? Or Shitney and Ming the Merciless? Back now to the amazing Julian and Christine. And hold on to your pants. Julian is taking his clothes off. Well, I think I'm pregnant. Now I'll give you a minute to cool down as we brace ourselves for the big bad news we've all been waiting for. Let's get some suspenseful music. Let's dip the lights and find out what dark secrets are in store for Christine. Are you ready?
I lost my job.
Is that it? We've waited like 7 episodes for that, and if he was responsible for that word brandtivity, then he should definitely be fired.
You fired! You fired! You fired!
So he's been telling Christine that he's been working all day, but actually he's just been hanging out in Starbucks. Meanwhile, Christine is also working. She's got a job at a bar and has plans for a career outside of the service industry.
He's been really supportive of like my comedy. Like I'm starting like the stand-up comedy career. Like
Stand-up career. Oh, I can't say I saw that coming. Again though, we do have to ask, does she mean career as a noun, as in an occupation, or career as a verb, as in to career off the road into a ditch? My judgment says the latter, but shush me, maybe she's good at it. Well, brace your pants for the second time this segment, my beautiful viewer, because Christine's about to tell a joke.
when I was in prison, I had a captive audience.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
That's fair.
Yeah, ditch. But then, shock horror, Julian accidentally drops himself in it.
To prepare for my interview, I gotta go cook my dinner.
Oh no! Now she's all suspicious about why he has an interview. Will she find out? Stay tuned for the enthralling conclusion. Back to Julian and Christine. See, you didn't have to wait very long, did you? And Julian has no choice but to tell Christine that he was fired a week ago, and he's been deceptive about it. Will she erupt? Will she understand?
Babe.
Yeah, okay then. She seems totally fine about it. And that's the kind of
Babe.
you get when you've got coffee in the sugar again. Or, you didn't shut the fridge door properly. Or when she's trying to sleep, then you roll her and give her one of those special mummy and daddy hugs.
Babe.
So, Julian says he's sorry.
I'm sorry.
And to put the ante into Christine's climax, they go home to hide in the attic.
Can we go home?
Okay.
We're off to catch up with Julian and Christine. And Christine is giving us an indication that we should take a drama with a pinch of Himalayan salt.
Julian and I had a bit of an argument out on the street because he lost his job.
Arguments? What do you mean when you said...
Babe.
And then everything was fine 2 seconds later?
Can we go home?
Okay.
Ah, call that an argument? I think Amy calls that breakfast. But it gives us an indication of how seriously we can take her claims that he is such a horrible person with a pinch of salt. Anyway, all eyes are on Julian as he's got that big dealio interview going on.
Thank you for meeting us at this time.
He may not be wearing any trousers, but at least he's pulled his socks up. Although, true story time. Sorry, Mum. I was paid to perform in a video where I was to be an office assistant. Can you believe it? $160 for a 23-minute video. Anyway, perhaps Julian can fulfill a gap in the market for those who want that sort of 80s executive experience. Yeah, baby. I'm going to install your Grammarly. Or, maybe something like, hey baby, let's run your ideas up my flagpole and understand consumer needs in relation to your fiscal quarter. Sexy.
Sure.
Meanwhile, it's time for Let's Get Crafty with Christine, a new show where Christine treats us to some handy crafting ideas. In this installment, she's going to show us how to make some flyers.
I am making some flyers for a stand-up comedy that I am going to try out.
Oh yes, not only is she arting some cool flyers, but she's crafting her punchlines for her open mic night. Something she was born to do.
I was voted funniest in my class in high school.
My nickname in jail is 50.
Sure, my friend Kieran voted himself most likely to touch Michelle Owen's boobs, so I'm going to rate what you got voted to be at school as a Lizzie. Unless Kieran did, of course, in which case that throws out my whole line of thinking. Maybe she is funny after all. Now, when I first saw the bit where she's drawing the flyer, I drew this to have a little bit of fun. But then I saw what she actually drew. Blimey, I wasn't far off. She's got the bubble writing and stuff, but mine's got a lovely smiley face. Really sell that comedy aspect. I also love how she did that thing where you're all confident with the letters to begin with, but then you can't fit them all in at the end. Man, don't worry about all those silly little details, like where and when it is. It's fine. And this isn't the only amazing she's committing to paper today. Earlier, she was filmed penning this masterpiece.
I've naturally done comedy my whole life.
Could this be the hallowed first draft of her first routine? Well, let's have a look then. So, the top bit is something about herself. I'm not the best at something. Robbing banks, probably. Then she's 36 old with a God only knows what all this bit is. But the bottom part, I think, could be the semblance of a comedy bit. People in history that I would shoot on sight. Looks a bit like shit on sight, but I'm assuming that's what she meant. And yes, the idea of seeing one of these people to actually shoot on sight might be somewhat problematic, but hey, let's suspend our disbelief for one delightful moment. Let's see. Mother Teresa, the cost cutter from Calcutta. Good girl. She must have watched my video from last week. Link in the floaty boxy thing up there, hopefully. Thomas Edison, the guy who nicked the idea for the light bulb, then sued the inventor for nicking his idea. We can kind of thank Edison for Hollywood, or not, depending on your perspective. Nothing about the lights or anything. He had nothing to do with neon. It was because, for some time, all things film had to go through him, because he had the patent for the first film cameras, or kinetoscopes. Known as the Edison licensing system, he held every camera and every film they needed to ransom. And everyone got so annoyed at him for suing them and generally being a right pain in the bum that they moved the industry from New Jersey to a place you may have heard of called Hollywood, where instead of using his stuff, they imported it all from Europe. So, that awful woman doing that Snow White remake? That's Edison's fault. Yeah, thanks Edison. Oh, and Topsy the elephant didn't like it much when she was electrocuted, along with all those dogs he unalived. But shh, don't tell my best friend. His son is called Edison. Hi Jake, yeah, nothing going on here, just chatting about boobs or something. Anyway, back to Christine's list. Number 3 is Henry VIII. Okay, and if a joke here is, where are the other 7? I think I'd steer in the direction of a career in copywriting. Sure, Henry VIII was a bit of a rogue, took down an entire belief system because he couldn't stand his missus anymore. I think we've all been there. Whatever this list is all about, I'm just too excited to hear her material. But someone who isn't excited about it is Julian. Boo. And he has the job of trying to describe reality to Christine. Well, if there's anyone in this show that could exercise some tact and diplomacy, it would be Julian. So let's sit back and watch as he attempts to discourage Christine without digging himself any holes.
It took me a while to get your sense of humor. And I just worry about people not getting your sense of humor.
Oh, yeah. Not a bad angle. It's about timing. People need time to find you funny. It's a fairly gentle strategy.
Everybody else thinks I'm funny. Except for you.
Yeah, Julian. You just don't know funny like she does. Although, anyone appearing on TV dressed like this must have a sense of humour. But will Julian sacrifice his dignity to go watch her perform? Well, stay tuned to find out.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
So we went to go see Julian and Christine instead. And it's Christine's big moment. Oh, I can't wait.
So let's give a warm welcome for Chris 50. All right.
What? How can they cut us off like that? I want to see Christine Rock's gig. Fine, we'll have to wait till the finale next week to find out.
We never want to try it ever again. Just lost my...
And no more waiting. we're gonna grab some refreshments and chuck some popcorn at the guy a couple of rows up as we admire some more amazing Julian and Christine. And Christine is always known that she'll be the next Carling.
I've always been the funniest person in the room. I got voted funniest in my class like 4 years in a row.
Oh, she's hyping herself up here. I'm expecting big things.
Let's give a warm welcome for Chris 50. All right.
So to begin with, she disarms the crowd with an ironic little personal intro about how she doesn't look like your average prisoner.
You can probably tell by looking at me, I'm all covered in tattoos, and I do give off that kind of street vibe, if I do say so myself.
That, I imagine, would actually land in prison. A blank, i.e. someone without ink, saying, "Oh, look at me, I'm a big criminal," does actually amuse people in that environment. Granted, it's an environment where the collective intelligent may not be powerful enough to light a light bulb, that little standby light bulb, but sarcasm and irony isn't lost on them. I once met a guy in a prison library who was hitting himself in the face with a book. "That's an interesting reading style you have there," I said. He thought that was hilarious. So every time I saw him, he'd hit himself in the face with something, and I would say, "That's an interesting way to do whatever it is that he was doing," and he would laugh hysterically every time. I would laugh awkwardly every time. And the irony of someone who looks like me saying, "Yeah, I'm here for murder," would always get a laugh. Outside, not so much. Particularly when you look like an extra from Prisoner's Cell Block H. The orange jumpsuit, I'm guessing, was a bit of a Gitmo type reference. Now, to judge the audience temperature, we're going to use this lady with the cute little sort of pixie ears. Currently, she's smiling. So we're doing well. Now time for joke 2. I think this bit's a joke, or it might be sort of the setup for the one. Let's see.
Because when I went in there, my charges were bank robbery.
Bank robbery. Always hilarious. Well, if you're true and run past your own getaway car and get tased 2 blocks later, well, that's pretty funny. Of course, the bank was a bit more of a KSC, but hey, his babies weren't real either. So who cares? Christine gets called on her morality.
That's stealing.
It is definitely stealing, sir. It is definitely stealing.
Oh dear. One thing to remember about a normie audience, they don't take kindly to people robbing their money and moaning about getting caught. Who would have thought? And this sets the pace for the rest of her bit. Rando normie guy now knows he can derail her, and her admitting she was wrong was a bad move. How could she have done any better? Well, how about, make a joke out of it? Maybe make him feel silly so he doesn't do it again. Like those comedians do, when they're on stage. For example, he says, "That's stealing." She could say, "Yeah, well done, Einstein, for working that one out. Yeah, good job." Then own the fact you're a convict. Or you could say, "Actually, it's called corporate finance acquisition. The government have been doing it for years." Whichever way she'd go, she should remember, never apologise and never explain. Next she goes for a nice, gentle, relatable gag.
The very first night that I was in jail, I literally my pants.
That's a good story.
The fact he said,
That's a good story.
totally made that joke. See, that's how you do irony. But then, Rando Normie gets big heckle points from me.
People ask me what my charges were. I always say,
I love that. Julian, by the looks of it. Julian, you're not supposed to be laughing at that mean heckler. Anyways, I hope this doesn't put her off her track. Go on, Christine, you can do it. Tell us more about pooping yourself.
how many, whenever
I think she's losing them. Quick, check in with Judgy Pixie Lady. Oh dear, I think she's losing them. Even her workmate seems to have passed out from second-hand embarrassment. But you, my dear viewer, you don't escape that easily. This next one's a doozy.
they always go, "You robbed a bank?" And I go, "No, I robbed 6 banks."
Yeah, I love how proud she was of that joke though. That Julian tries to give her a bit of support from the crowd.
Yes.
Not really sure in what kind of a way, just sort of confirming the fact that she was telling the truth, really. While Blonde Lady gives her friend the look, and I think Judgy Pixie Lady has been placed in a medically induced coma.
Like,
If she'd have come out with this kind of vulnerability in the beginning, the stereotypical prisoner gag would have come across a little bit better, and that guy wouldn't have been so quick to heckle. But as it stands, she's managed to capsize her own gig that she uses some nasty words.
who would do such horrible things?
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, you horrible man. So anyway, poor old Julian has the task of mopping up this little disaster area.
You guys
I think he looks like Dr. Dubrow here. Then the next day, Christine is philosophical about it all.
I was so mad for a minute at that guy. I was like, chick over in the face. Like,
So did I.
Yeah, you were really mad at him and that totally not funny thing that he said. But that is all from these two this season. Julian is getting another job, and Christine is making a comedy comeback. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a delight to amuse you. Please go ahead and like and share this video, or try out one of these little beauties. And until we meet again, stay beautiful, love to my three, and you take care of yourself.
Please subscribe now for uploads.